Human identity is no longer defined by what one does, but by what one owns.
Standing on my feet till I landed on my knees. Abandon all the things that let me fall from thee. I look abroad, I see the lawlessness increase. I know that God be looking on us, but we heartless in our deeds. Yeah, sit in our mind, wage a war against the lies. Yeah, they've been perpetrated on us since we was 5. This American dream, it blinded us all with greed. If you got ears to hear, then you got eyes to see. Come take a ride with me. Will faith collide with reason? We will fight for freedom. Gave my life to Jesus. Long him high, draped in the sky. They mocked and beat him. Soon he gon' crack the sky and every eye gon' see him. Yeah.
And this is a war for me.
Welcome to Who is God? The Sevens Film Tour. My name is Travis. In this documentary, we're going to explore, as I travel on Amtrak trains across the country, who God is to people in 2022. Who they believe He is or isn't, if they believe in Him anymore. We're going to explore the faith that remains in this country and what it actually looks like. For the past 2 years, I've run an online ministry called Beast System Revealed, and there's a good chance you may have heard of it. I had a very large YouTube channel at one point. I ran a website called avoidthemark.com for about 1.5 years that had hundreds of millions of visitors. And my goal in serving God through that was really to expose the lies of the world, and in doing so, point people to their Creator, to Yahweh, the Father, through Christ. For 2 years I labored doing that. No money made, never sought money from any of it. And it ended on March 8th of this year, 2022, with my video, The Beast Revealed, which revealed who a lot of people call the Antichrist, but is actually the first beast of Revelation 13. And his name is Vladimir Putin. And in The Beast Revealed, I go through in excruciating detail exactly why I know God is showing me that Vladimir Putin is the beast. And he also told me before I made that video that was the end of my online ministry. And in that video I said that. I said at the end of it, if you see me again, it'll be on some street corner somewhere or town square preaching God's word. And I said, I don't know what that's going to look like yet or when it's going to start, but I know that's where He's leading me. Well, now here I am. Today is May 7th of 2022, exactly 60 days later. And my whole life has been turned upside down since I made that video, The Beast Revealed. And I knew it would. God told me it would be. My 8-year relationship crashed and burned in the worst conceivable way, ways I could have never seen coming or could even really describe to you. But it crashed and burned. And God finally stripped me down completely naked to Him, finally. Like I've always known I've needed to be. And if you've seen my movie, The Sevens, you know that I confess in there and fully repent of my worship of women that I have engaged in my entire life. And so this now, right now, is the first time in my life since I made the movie The Sevens, which I began filming on April 1st, over a month ago. It's the first time in my life that there is no woman, and I'm not seeking any woman. And God is showing me it's time to seek me fully, because this is the end of the times. This is the end of the age, He says to me, Travis, you need to serve me fully. And so I am. I am. And it's because I want to. It's because His love for me is so immense, and the things He's forgiven me of in my life are so immense. The things and the miracles He's shown me are so beyond my understanding that all I can do is serve Him. And I will be. On December 21st of 2021, which was my 45th birthday, He told me that this year I would be spending a lot of time traveling around the country on Amtrak trains, preaching his word, but I didn't know what that would look like, and I didn't know how that would meld with a relationship. It didn't. It wasn't supposed to. This is me solo, serving him. And this documentary is going to show you what that looks like exactly. And it's going to show you what people in this world really, really need right now. There's so much confusion in the world. People don't even want to think about the craziness going on anymore because it's so crazy, and so many brains have been broken in the last 2 years since COVID started because of the craziness. And I just think that it's not a numbers game anymore for God. It's finding those hidden gems. And so to quit the online ministry where it can be a big numbers game, I just never felt like I was really reaching people on a personal level. I always knew face to face is the way we need to do it, to really share his love in the truest form. And not only his love, but his truth. And that we are in his judgment right now. This earth is in judgment. We're in the second seal, the fiery red horse of war. And World War III, if it's not here already, is certainly coming. So in this documentary, the Sevens Film Tour, Who is God? I'm gonna be taking my movie, The Sevens, which barely anybody's seen. I had it published briefly on an obscure YouTube channel I had for about a week. I got a few hundred views. It wasn't meant for that. I've been spending time making hundreds and hundreds of DVD copies of it, along with my final 5 videos from Beast System Revealed channel, including The Beast Revealed. And I've got almost 500 sets ready to give out. And I'm gonna go around the country on Amtrak. I'm gonna set up a little deal with a movie poster, play in the movie, and give them away. Give them away and talk to people about who they think God is. And that's what this documentary is going to be all about. We're going to talk to a lot of people. It's not going to be about me standing there preaching the word necessarily. It's more going to be about talking face to face, one-on-one with people, and understanding where they're coming from in their lives, who they think God is, if they feel he's important to them or not, and their understanding of him. Because Lucifer, the god of this world, has done such a tremendous job throughout the ages of convincing people that either God isn't real, God is irrelevant, or that he is the actual God. People blame God, the Almighty, on so many things that Lucifer is engaging in on this earth. So we're going to talk to people about those things, and we're going to show them what true repentance is all about, and coming out of the world is actually all about, and the fact that we have to come out of this world if we're actually going to serve the living God anymore. We have to. I'm glad you're coming along for the journey. It's going to be a fun ride, and I tell you, we're going to have a lot of laughs too. It's going to be serious. You're probably going to cry some, but I guarantee you're going to laugh a lot too. And we're going to have a tremendous time together as this unfolds. Who God is to me, he's the creator of all things we see, all the things we don't see. He made them all. God is infinite. He's the beginning, he's the end. He's always expanding. He's all-knowing. He's all-powerful. He cannot be outsmarted. Who God is to me is the most forgiving and wise being that you could ever imagine. He sets guidelines for us, but he doesn't demand we follow them. He allows us to make our own decisions, and our own decisions have their own consequences outside of his wisdom. Who God is to me is the most loving, perfect creator, father that any of us could ever have. And we take for granted how immense his love is, really, for us. Who God is to me is my entire life. My entire life. How can I not serve the one who created me in his image? To follow him according to his perfect will who God is to me is how I live every single day until my ultimate reward, which is promised to us in the revelation of Jesus Christ, until my ultimate reward is given to me for following the one who made me. Here in downtown Toledo, Ohio today as the first leg of my journey called Who is God? And what I'm doing here, being led by God completely in faith, is going to be handing out my movie, The Sevens, to as many people as He tells me to give it to. I've brought over 200 copies here with me, and I've come here with the plan of following God completely through the entire trip. Over the course of the next 4 days through June 12th, I will be here. And so we're going to talk to some interesting people on this trip and talk to them about who they think God is exactly to them, whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent. Doesn't really matter to me. I want to know in America today where God stands and where people stand with God. And in sharing my movie, The Sevens, that gives the perfect depiction of the end times and what's really coming in this age and coming soon. I think giving it away to people is the best way to go so that they can get this DVD in their hands for good. And when the time comes, learn what it is God has to say to His church. The deal is, God has been real clear to me that I don't just hand these out to anybody as I walk by, that it's for His chosen people and His chosen people only that He's calling right now. It's interesting, I am in downtown right now. There's like nobody walking around at all. It's another dead city, much like when I visited Chicago. Cities, downtowns are just nobody around. It's crazy. There's a few people driving around and stores are all closed up or no one's milling around at all. So we'll see how this goes. I'm in what basically would be the town center of Toledo, or the town square, you know. downtown. There's nobody. There's nobody. I've been downtown. It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's about 3:30 right now. There's a few people milling around here and there. I've been downtown for about 3 hours, since about noon. And I don't know what's going on, man. I walked around the entire downtown. I can't find barely anybody doing anything. Just like I said, in Chicago, back last December and around New Year's Eve and stuff, there was just nobody around in downtown Chicago either. Something's changed. Something's changed. Day 2 here in Toledo, and I'm at the Hollywood Casino. This is exactly where God told me to go this morning, today. When I went to bed last night, I said to him, you know, downtown was so dead yesterday, and I handed out, you know, dozens of my DVDs, but the people, the only real people I got a chance to really sit down and talk to were the Uber drivers. And I had 2 amazing Uber drivers, one on the way there, one on the way back, that I really got to share a lot about my trip, what I'm doing, and about God. And they were very interested and both took copies of my movies. So here I think I'm going to have a better opportunity to actually talk to some people face to face, because it's more of a social environment, I think. We'll see. So I'm going to go in here. I got about 50 copies of the DVD with me today, and we're going to hand every single one of them out in some way here over the course of the next few hours. Well, that was an interesting experience. I spent about 3 hours in the casino, and I played blackjack for a while, even, just to have a chance to talk to some people, and right away it comes out, who are you and where are you from, at the blackjack table. And so I start telling people what I'm doing and why I'm here, and they look at me like I'm an alien, yes, you can imagine. But the dealer told me something interesting. He said Tom Hanks was in Toledo 2 weeks ago at the train station, at the Amtrak station. And I guess he's making some movie about traveling on trains right now. Who knew? But anyway, so I took my free DVDs and I put them all over the place in that casino. In the bathrooms, on slot machines, on tables. I probably put about 3 dozen out there. And then at the very end, when I was ready to leave, I'm walking out of the bathroom, and this man walks up, and he says he's a Christian actor. And he just walks right up to me and starts talking to me like he knew me. And he said, who are you and what are you doing here? And I talked to him for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. And gave him the real copy of my DVD, the official copy. And he said he's going to watch that tonight and find out what the heck it is I'm talking about and why. And I even gave him my number. Probably sounds incredibly cliche, but I can't start my day anymore without a run. I'm 45 years old. I started running a year ago in July. Today is day 3 in Toledo, June 10th, 2022. And I started running in July of last year simply because I had so much anxiety going on in my life at the time. I'd wake up in the morning and I wouldn't even know how to get my thoughts straight to tackle the day the right way. And so on a whim, I just decided I was going to try to start running 5Ks every day, and I couldn't run at all. I've never been a runner. I've always kind of been annoyed by runners, you know. Probably annoyed because I always thought I couldn't do it. Well, I couldn't do it. When I first started, I couldn't go a quarter mile without pulling up to stop, not even close. But I resolved, no matter what, on almost every day to get up, and before I start doing anything else at all, to get my 5K in, no matter how long it took me. When I first started out, you know, it was taking me 44 minutes or so. A 5K is 3.1 miles. And I was slow as heck, but I didn't really care. It's amazing, by the way, how many of these old department stores around here are just empty. People turn these into these parking lots. They turn into makeshift roads. Traffic. I'm staying in this hotel over there, but they make this all into roads. It's just a parking lot. But I just did it. I just did it every day, and I got faster and faster and faster. But it wasn't really even about that. What it was really about was breaking my cycle of anxiety that nothing else could help me with. I've never been on any prescription drugs or anything like that for anxiety, and so I just always try to tackle it on my own, and I couldn't do it anymore. And running, I don't know what it is, but it gets your mind off of your problems, your troubles, the troubles of the world, and gets you focused on, especially when you're first starting, torture. It really is torture. But you just keep pushing and get those 5Ks in every day, and pretty soon you find you're a runner. And like last fall and early last winter, I did a few even competitive short races, 5 mile, 5K, and I don't do it for any of those reasons. I just do it so that when I get going in the day, I'm ready to face it. The Sevens film is the true story of a man desperately seeking to make sense out of love and the real meaning of life. And I think the reason the movie is so relatable, or can be, to so many people, is that who isn't seeking the meaning of love? Who isn't seeking the meaning of life? Who in this world doesn't want to know more about who our Creator actually is? And on top of that, the struggles that people have in love these days, trying to find that elusive love that seems to elude almost everybody. And so my film really discusses all of these things in detail, and discusses exactly why we're here, what we're doing here, where we're heading, and what we have to do to face and beat this beast system world that is overcoming everything. And people see it. From what I'm seeing and the people that I've talked to, the average everyday person does understand that the world is really screwed up right now, and that there must be more to the story. And what my movie does is it tells them exactly what more there is to the story, and where this is all leading, as the rulers of the world dismantle what we've known as reality and turn it into a new system, the beast system, the new beast system, that will overcome humanity. And so that's why I'm giving away the Sevens. I give it away. I'm not selling it. I don't make a dime off of it. It's because I want people to understand and have a chance to know the truth in this world and who God really is. So today I'm going to be going to the Toledo Zoo and Aquarium. I didn't really have much of an opportunity to talk to anybody here at the zoo. I've been here for a few hours, but I did leave off a bunch of my DVDs all around the zoo. And I really think, you know, God tells me this trip is all about simple obedience, and that serving Him is always about obedience and nothing else, and not to have any expectations, not to necessarily think things are going to go a certain way, but to just do. Just do exactly as He tells me to do. And this is what He told me to do today. So I, like I said, handed out several dozen copies there, left a bunch around the zoo. And God tells me they will get into the right hands of the right people who need to understand the truth of this age. Just as I say, I didn't really have a chance to talk to anybody today about God. Yet another Uber ride with an amazing conversation with an Uber driver about God. It's like when I sit down for a few minutes with somebody, by default, like you have to in a Uber rideshare kind of situation, God just kind of keeps automatically coming up in all of these conversations in the most amazing ways. And you know, I wish I could record them, but it just wouldn't be as genuine. And so we started talking about God a little bit, and he was kind of like a hard biker dude kind of guy, you know, in his mid-50s or so, believes in God. What I find interesting is that almost everybody I've talked to so far, we want to talk about who is God and who people think God is. I have not come across one person yet who does not believe in God, who isn't seeking or searching out who God is. And I think that's because of the way the world is going, and people really are asking genuine questions. And when we ask genuine questions, our minds tend to go to the Creator, if there is one, people think. And so people often blame the problems of the world on God, not understanding the God of this world is Lucifer. And when people understand that a little bit, it makes a little more sense to them. Well, anyway, so I gave him the official copy of my DVD, and he was so excited. He can't wait to check it out with his wife, and he said even his kids, because his wife doesn't really believe in God, but she's starting to ask some questions too. He's Catholic. So we sat here for about 10 minutes, even after we got to the location here at my hotel, and just kept talking. And I gave him a bunch of the free copies for him to hand out to other riders, and he's so excited to do that, and he hasn't even seen the movie yet. So I think God put me exactly today where I needed to be in talking with Todd, and hopefully God reaches his heart in a brand new way so that he can begin understanding the reality of this age. I'm learning that obedience to God rarely makes any logical sense to us. So many things He's had me do on this trip, many of which I haven't filmed, is just me listening to His voice and trusting that what He's telling me as far as the word He wants to get out there is going to happen. And so what I didn't know until last night, I'm right next to this old church here called Unity Spiritual Center here in Toledo. And it's closed. I didn't know that. I walked over here a little bit ago and saw that it was closed. But they still have services about 10 minutes from here, which I can't get to because I got here on an Amtrak. I don't have a car with me. But I knew God told me that He wanted me to give this spiritual center a gift. And that is 100 copies of my DVD, as well as 2 official copies. And so I left a message for the pastor, and I told him who I am and why I'm here, and told him I'll be leaving this box under the awning, which I'm doing right now. And I'm hoping that he shares them with the people that he ministers to, because I know the message in this seems to be exactly for the kind of people that attend this church in particular, Unity of Toledo. So I'm going to leave it right here. I left him a message, like I said, on their line, just saying that I would be leaving it there under the awning, and hopefully he'll come pick it up. Sunday, June 12th. heading home right now, heading to the Amtrak station. Gotta catch myself an Uber. On that thing, man, I am tired. The last 5 days have taught me anything, it's that this journey, who is God, is not going to be a simple journey whatsoever. I'm exhausted. The things that I've gone through personally in the last 5 or 6 days on this trip to Toledo, I really couldn't have comprehended before I left. You know, I had a certain plan, a certain idea of how I thought I was going to do this and how I thought I was going to be sharing my movie and what this documentary was going to look like. And God has very different ideas. I see that now. The things that happened, you know, I said to my dad, who picked me up at the train station over in Toma, which is about an hour and a half from here, I said to my dad on the way back, everything that happened on this trip for me was confirmation over and over and over from God that what I'm doing is in His will and is what He wants me to be doing right now. And every time I'd start doubting, which I do all the time, you can't imagine. I know what I'm doing seems kind of crazy, but it's like everybody that I even come into any type of contact with at all, immediately it comes out. Who are you? What are you doing? And I tell them every time, my name is Travis. I'm making a documentary. Who is God? I'm a filmmaker. I have this film, The Sevens. I'm going around the country on Amtraks, giving it away. And people are fascinated by that. I did not meet one single person who mocked me, who thought it was weird. Everybody's seeking something that I talk to, and I talk to so many people. And the craziest things happen, you know, just on the last leg of this trip on the Amtrak from Chicago to Toma. The craziest thing happened. So I get on the train, and my bag is real big. It's like 50 or 60 pounds. And the woman kind of running the show is like, well, that's too big. It can't go in the overhead. It's got to go over here in this area. So she sticks it in this room on the first floor of the Amtrak. I'm on the second floor. Most coach passengers are on the second floor on these larger trains. But there's also the lower level, and there's about a dozen people in the room sitting there. And so she puts my bag in there. Well, my laptop or my computer was in there, and it turned itself on and literally played the entire movie The Sevens in my bag. Of course, audio only. They couldn't see it, but nobody knew where the sound was coming from. For 2 hours, the whole thing played for about a dozen people in this room. And I only found out because about 2 hours into the trip, it's a 4-hour trip from Chicago to Toma. 2 hours into the trip, I go down to go to the bathroom. I wanted to grab something out of my bag. I go in there and I hear my movie playing as I open the door. And a dozen people are sitting in there, and I'm like, has this been playing for a while? And they're like, yeah, the whole time. And I'm like, wow, did it play the whole thing? And they're like, yeah, we didn't know where it was coming from. They're like, we couldn't believe Amtrak was playing something like this. Some guy praying, talking to God the whole time in this movie. And I'm like, well, it's my movie. I'm a filmmaker. My name is Travis. And so I ended up giving away 5 or 6 copies of the movie just there because of that situation. Something I could have never orchestrated, And that was just one of the many things that throughout the course of this trip that there's no reasonable explanation for. And it was basically God trying to show me, Travis, if you obey me and you're serving me and you're trying to build my kingdom, which he knows that's my goal, that's my only reason for doing any of this. He said, when you're serving me and your will is my will and you're searching my will out, any situation that you're in, I will use, he says. And he does. Last night, I'm sitting on a picnic table outside of my hotel room. On my last night, I think I'm kind of like coming down from the trip and I'm maybe done ministering for now. This couple walks up out of nowhere, sits right down next to me and starts talking to me out of nowhere. Who are you? What are you doing? Turns out the guy used to be in a band called the Laughing Hyenas. He's like 55 years old. I guess the band dissolved in maybe 94 or something like that. And he had played with Eddie Vedder and all these other guys. And we ended up talking for like 2 hours about God. He was like a Catholic. His wife didn't believe in God at all, really, when we started the conversation, but then it turned into something very different. I gave him the copy of my movie. By the end of the conversation, they're literally like, will you sign the copy of your movie for us? Will you sign it? I start laughing at them. They were serious. I'm like, yeah, I'll sign it, but this is not about me. This is about God, And they're like, well, we get that. And they haven't even watched it yet, or hadn't even watched it. So I ended up giving away over 200 copies of my movie and about 20 or so of the real copies, the physical DVD with my picture and all that on it. To the people that I talked to directly, and handing out a lot more just in passing of the free version. And like I've been saying, the best conversations I've had every single time were in Ubers, because every driver, the first thing they say is, well, who are you? What are you doing here? And once I begin to explain, they want to know more. And next thing you know, you're talking about God and you're witnessing about the end age and what's really going on in the world and why. And people are so hyper aware. See, we think that people are going to be turned off when we talk to them about God, and it's actually the opposite. The hardest, roughest looking people are the ones most open to listening, and do listen and ask the right questions every single time. It's just a matter of saying who you are, saying who you serve, and once they see that, they want to know what they want to know what you think you know. And if what you know and what you've been taught from the Holy Spirit jives in their spirit, which it will when you're in the right situation, the Spirit will speak to them, immediately you have a conversation that's helping to change their lives. And fortunately, God has given me this tool, the Sevens, the movie, to give to people so that after these conversations, they can go home, watch it, watch my bonus DVD with my last 5 videos from the Beast System Revealed channel, and really learn what God is all about right now and what He's doing in the judgment of this earth. Today is June 27th of 2022, and it's been about 3 weeks since I got back from Toledo. And I had a wonderful day with God today. In fact, the last few weeks, man, I tell you, God told me at the very beginning of this entire project that things are going to go in ways that I can't yet imagine. There's going to be surprises, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be things I can't plan for. And I've been seeing that already in the last 2 months, gearing up and now pulling off this midnight ride. Who is God? And I'm leaving next week, Thursday, to Buffalo, New York, the 7th, July 7th. Today is Monday, June 27th. And I've been getting all my stuff together, and everything's been falling together perfectly. For the first few weeks of this last month, it just didn't seem like I might be able to pull off the second trip financially, and just with all things. And things keep falling into place for me in incredible ways with my freelance work and what I do to earn money to fund what I'm doing here. In the last week and a half have just fallen together in ways I couldn't even explain to you. And so tonight, I was getting ready to have supper, and I was talking to God and getting real excited about leaving next week for Buffalo and what that's going to look like, because He's told me that's going to look nothing like Toledo. It's going to be a whole different thing, and you need to be ready. Well, I didn't know what that meant exactly. And tonight, I come upstairs after praying to God about this and feeling good about the trajectory of where this is going, and the first thing I see when I walk upstairs to have supper, world news is on, and they're talking about an Amtrak derailment. The California Zephyr, I believe, happened in Missouri. I was on that train a few months ago, and it derailed and killed 3 people just shortly ago. And the timing sometimes of these things, I swear sometimes, like, life feels like a script at times, of all things. Air travel right now is an absolute nightmare, and there's thousands and thousands of delays and cancellations happening every day. And I have no desire for air travel. It's not what this documentary is about. And I was just saying to my dad last night, people just kind of forget about Amtrak and how cheap it is and really how convenient it is to travel on. And then tonight, train derailment. So now I'm thinking, are they going to shut it down for a while? I don't know. I see that they've had derailments through the years. It's not completely uncommon. But it just seems like the rulers of the world are really trying to make travel absolutely impossible right now in every capacity, whether it's $5 a gallon gas or air travel that you can't ever trust the schedules anymore. Now they're coming after Amtrak. Really? And maybe it's just a coincidence, but in my life, I tell you, at some point you give up on thinking things are a coincidence. And it all feels like a script. It really does, especially with the timing, you know. So I'm hoping Buffalo's going to happen next week. I don't know right now. This weekend, God told me a few days ago, there's something around here called the Midwestern Rodeo in Manawa, Wisconsin. It's about a half an hour from where I live. And he told me I'm going to the Manawa Rodeo this Saturday to give away copies of my DVD and do what I've been doing. Midwestern Rodeo in Manawa, Wisconsin, and it's the biggest rodeo in the Midwest, so it's kind of a big deal. And as you can tell, there's a lot of people here in line waiting for tickets. Check out the action. I don't know that I want to sit around and necessarily watch a rodeo, but I learned something really interesting this morning. As I was looking at the website, I noticed that all the rodeo participants, the cowboys, are going to be wearing pink in solidarity for breast cancer, as they always say. And I've noticed in the last half decade or so how many more professional sports are having male athletes wear pink, and they always say it's for breast cancer. And in reality, I'm seeing that men are being feminized in so many ways in this world, and it's such an evil agenda because women have convinced us in so many ways that it's time for them to take over the world.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you to look over this rodeo arena this afternoon. Protect our cowboys, our cowgirls, our rodeo livestock from injury, and allow each and every one of us to do our very best. Travel with us down the road of life that's paved with failures and hardships. Give us the ability to make the right decisions and to live in your precious and holy name. These things we ask in Jesus' name and pray.
Anyway, I will be going to Buffalo this coming week on the 7th. That Amtrak crash that happened that I was afraid would be affecting Amtrak travel moving forward. Turns out it's not. I guess what happened was it had run into a vehicle at an intersection and in Missouri, and 3 people on the train died, as well as the person in the vehicle died as well. But it hasn't delayed anything with the Amtraks or anything like that, so everything's booked. I'll be in Buffalo on the 7th, or I'll leave on the 7th, get there the morning of the 8th, and a lot of ministering to be doing there from what God is telling me. Here today, I'll be giving away a few copies of my movie, not many, but God told me He wanted me to come here for one particular person, and I don't know who it is, but He does, and so that's why I'm here. And so the discs I'm going to give out, if you can get to one person in the right way to tell them what's actually going on in the world right now and why. I sure hope that I never come across, like, how do I want to say this? Like I've absolutely got it all figured out in my personal life, and that I'm doing this, all that I've been doing, with complete confidence. I've spent today is July 4th, I've had a rough day today, and I wanted to share this. Actually, I didn't want to share this, but God specifically told me, Travis, go share what you've been through today. And the thing about it is it's not often that I take a day off from everything. There's some mosquitoes out here, so if I swat, that's what that is. It's not often that I take a day off from everything. This week alone, I've run 30 miles. I work. I always fill my day with things because I find that when my time gets idle, my mind starts to wander away from the will of God and back into my own will. And if you've seen my movie, The Sevens, you know where my will is. You know where my will is. and that's always been my struggle my entire life with my desire for earthly love in the form of a woman. And the path I'm on right now, it's just me. I live here in central Wisconsin with my dad, who's 73 years old. My mom died over a year ago. And so it works out well for both of us, really well. But man, it gets lonely. It gets lonely. And I know God informed me and directed me back in March that this was gonna just be me and him. And see, I'm so stubborn sometimes with that I keep thinking in the back of my mind, God, maybe you'll add a woman to me, to this whole mission that you have me on, because it gets lonely. It gets really, really lonely. And so I've done pretty much nothing today on the 4th of July. It's rained here most of the day, and I've kind of laid around trying to relax. I just can't do it anymore. I used to be the king of relaxing until about a year ago, and all of a sudden something sprang to life in me. But I know sometimes I need to relax. I know Jesus relaxed. In fact, when they were on that boat and the storm came in, when they were off, sharing the word, when Jesus was with his apostles, and the storm came in and he was just sleeping, and it was late, and even the Bible said he'd been sleeping really late that day because he worked so hard and he knew he needed rest. And something I struggle with is getting that rest, that true rest. I'm always so wired to try to serve God better, I guess, and then when it's not that, then it becomes my own desires, my own loneliness, and things like that. And so I've struggled with that today a lot. And I leave for Buffalo in a couple of days on Thursday. Today's Monday. And if you think that I don't at times, pretty much every day, doubt what I'm doing here because it's so unexplainable to the vast majority of the world, if you think I don't doubt that all the time, I do. The hardest part for me pretty much every day is when I wake up in the morning, when I first wake up, and where's my mind gonna be? And I always have to come to the Father to refresh me again on what I'm doing and why, and the calling he's had on my life since I was 17. And the truth of the matter is, there's really no other path I can take at this point. I was watching something earlier today, and I was watching somebody training for the Olympics, a swimming thing or whatever. And they had been doing this for years, and their goal was to make the Olympics. And they trained and trained and trained and trained for years, and they were so driven by that. And I think what happens when you're driven by a purpose, you get to the point in your life where there's no other way you can go. You have to keep following it. And the Father has put me in that situation in my life right now, where I will follow this to the end. And I've told him, and he knows that I will serve him until the end. But it ain't always easy, especially with all these mosquitoes that are just showing up right now. It ain't easy. And I don't want you to think it's easy. God asks us to do crazy things when we serve him fully. And I think about Ezekiel in the Old Testament, the prophet Ezekiel, and God called him to go testify in a city that no one was going to accept his word at all, not a single person, and Ezekiel still had to do it. And on top of that, he made Ezekiel do crazy things. He made Ezekiel lay on his side in the middle of the city, I think for 9 months or something, and cook bread over cow dung. So I think about God sometimes, you're crazy. And he said, Travis, according to this world, which is run by Lucifer, the God of this world, yes, it seems crazy. Yes, my thoughts seem crazy, but they're higher than yours. They're higher than yours, and you follow me at all costs, no matter what. And what I've learned in doing that now for, at least the last 9 months, where I really have been trying to follow him directly, step by step, is that things end up happening you could never plan. Never. And so I think Buffalo is going to be one of those situations where it's going to be something, things are going to happen there I have no idea, and God's preparing me for that. And so for the next 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday before I leave on Thursday, I am going dark on my phone, and communication in general. I'm going to focus on his mission for me, because he's telling me something major is going to happen in Buffalo. Millennium Park in Chicago on my way to Buffalo. It's July 7th, and the last time I was here in Millennium Park was right around, I guess, New Year's Eve of last year, on my way back from Grand Junction, Colorado. And God called me at that time to preach a message here, which I did, very timidly, off in a corner somewhere, but I put in my best effort, as he had asked me to do, to have more boldness. And God is really telling me this trip is going to be more about boldness than my trip to Toledo was. So got about a 5-hour delay here in Chicago, so I'm trying to kill some time. Train station's kind of a boring place to sit after a while, but I have some copies of my movie here, The Seven, so I'm going to go try to give a copy out here underneath the bean behind me, they call this here at Millennium Park. So I'm going to head over there right now. It's kind of an odd structure, it's I don't know that they really give an official explanation as to what it is or what it symbolizes, but I think it has a lot of symbolism when it comes to the millennium and what the rulers of the world are planning on doing in their version of Christ's millennium reign. And maybe they think of this, the rulers of the world are real big with symbolism when it comes to statues and monuments and things like that. And I think kind of the bean here might represent like a rebirth that they're planning on doing for their version of a millennial reign, which is going to be nothing obviously like Christ's version is going to be. So God told me on my way here, he told me to go ahead and bring this copy of this movie here and see if somebody underneath the bean wants it. So I'm going to go underneath there, see if anyone's interested. I didn't even bother going underneath here last time. So let's see. I'm going to give it to this guy right here. Excuse me, guys. I'm a filmmaker from Wisconsin. Just wanted to give you a copy of my movie. It's called The Sevens, and I don't know why exactly. I'm filming for my documentary right now called Who Is God, but it's got my disc. It's got a bonus DVD, my last 5 videos from. I had a large YouTube channel. I think you'll get a lot out of it. True story of a man desperately seeking to make sense out of love and the real meaning of life. So it's all yours. Enjoy. So then it was. I guess I kind of spotted it right away. God told me when I got underneath there, he would have the right person for me to give it to. And he seemed very receptive. So it was a younger couple. guess it's safe to say I kind of go into these trips 100% blind. I am in Buffalo right now. Got in on the Amtrak at about 9:30 this morning, and it was a long overnight trip. I did get a little bit of sleep, a couple of hours at least, but it's hard to sleep on those trains. So I got to my hotel here, and I know I'm trying to check in early, and they need some time to clean the room, so I'm just kind of wandering around. And so far, all I see in this downtown area. I'm staying at the Buffalo Garden, or I'm sorry, the Wyndham Garden, downtown Buffalo. And it's all medical stuff, all medical buildings. I don't know where the restaurants are or nothing. I haven't really explored it yet. But right out of the gate, I went the wrong way out of the hotel. And right before I knew it, I was in the hood and there were no sidewalks. I'm like, I better turn around. I think I went the wrong way. So I don't know, my GPS on my phone isn't working right at all. It just kind of floats around. When I was in Chicago yesterday too, trying to use GPS to navigate, just walking around downtown, it doesn't keep up. I don't know what the deal is with that. So kind of looking for something to eat, but really I want to get some sleep today. Once I can get into my room, get a little bit of sleep, spend some time with God, figure out where downtown actually is, or where people actually are, or where restaurants are and things like that. Putting yourself in position to serve God pays off every time. And God is there every single time that you do so. Earlier today, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours ago, I couldn't sleep today much at all. I wanted to so bad because it's been a long trip just to get here to Buffalo. And I didn't really sleep much on the train. And I tried today, but I just couldn't. So I went for a walk. And as I'm walking with this shirt on I have here, it says "No Longer Lost." And I'm at an intersection. Some man pulls up with a bicycle, very busy intersection, Main Street. Matter of fact, kind of close to here, Main Street and High Street here in Buffalo. And I'm standing there because I need to cross Main Street and I can't for a really long time, and I'm just standing there waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, this bicyclist pulls up and he stops me and he says, "No longer lost. What does that mean?" And I was kind of caught off guard because I was just kind of annoyed that I couldn't cross over the street and get where I wanted to go. And I said, "Well, it's got a very heavy spiritual meaning." And he said, "Are you a believer in Jesus Christ?" And we broke into a conversation on that corner, very busy street corner. He got off his bike. I told him what I'm doing, who I am, and what my mission is. And I gave him a copy of the movie right away. And I told him what it's about. It's about the end of the age and what's really coming. And he's like an evangelical kind of Christian, gun-believing, gun-toting kind of guy, America first, politically right. But we talked on that street corner for about a half an hour, him and I. Me standing up on the curb, him, on the road. And he was 65 years old, in great shape, obviously bikes a lot. But he believes in God. He sees the evils of the world, and he thinks that the world needs a revival to save it. And I told him, you're going to learn some things in my movie, The Sevens, that are going to teach you that now is not the time for revival. Now is the time for God's judgment. And that's his message. That's his will right now, the end of the age. And he said, yeah, I do feel like the end of the age might be coming. And I said, well, in this movie, The Sevens, you'll learn exactly what the end of the age actually is and what it's going to look like. And after about a half hour talking on this corner and people just looking at us like, what is going on here? Me with my shirt on, he says, I want to pray for you and your mission. I want to pray for you and your mission, Travis. And he did. And he prayed, and it was a strong prayer. A real strong prayer. And I listened, and I accepted. And at the end, I looked at him and he opened his eyes and he was bawling. He had tears flowing down his eyes. And I said, make sure to watch what I gave you. And he went his way and I went mine. So a really special moment. And I think moments like that are what serving God is all about. If that is the only reason I came to Buffalo and what he's going to get out of that movie and those DVDs I gave him, if that's all he gets, he's gotten the only person who is giving this message right now in this end age. He's gotten that message because he was biking by at that exact moment. And I know a lot more is going to happen here, but I just know that that was an important situation. I don't know who the guy is. He seemed pretty connected, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna get some dinner here. There's a place right down the street here called Anchor Bar, and they profess to be the original buffalo wings. I'm in Buffalo, so the absolute original buffalo wings. So I'm gonna see what their buffalo wings are about. If it's not too busy, I'm gonna go check it out. Staying right next to the most peculiar place. I wanted to show you this. I'm going to be heading downtown today to the waterfront, but like I said, I'm in the middle of a really big medical plaza, and it's called Roswell Park. And right next to me here is something called the Cell and Virus Building of Roswell Park. And it used to be owned by the New York State Department of Health, I guess in 1999 that changed hands, where it's now some sort of public corporation as of 99. But man, what is this? A Cell and Virus Building. It's a cancer research area, this Roswell Park. And it's really a huge area. As I mentioned, it's hard to grab the scope of it, you know, with a GoPro, but this is just a small part of it. I don't know how many blocks it is, at least probably 10 city blocks, and it's the number 14 rated, I guess, cancer research center in the United States, as I looked it up this morning. So they're doing a lot of cancer research here. I tell you, this area, just walking around it, there are a lot of unhealthy people walking around, and I'm not just talking about people walking around who are probably patients here, but just the staff, all the people that are walking around that just look so unhealthy, these healthcare workers. And I'm not trying to pick on healthcare workers here by any means, but I'm convinced, and I've been convinced of this for quite some time in my life, that pharmaceuticals, some people call it pharmacia, like a black magic, is what has our nation, especially in the United States here, so completely unhealthy. And I look around at people anywhere I go, really, and it's amazing compared to, say, 30 years ago, the problems with obesity, the problems with just horrible health. People that are my age or younger, I'm 45, that look like they're in their 60s. And it doesn't take much to be healthy at all. As I've talked about so much in all of my videos that I did on my Beast System Revealed channel, I would mention it at times. All I did was start running, and my whole health turned around. Now, I've never been on pharmaceuticals really ever in my life. It's just not something that I've ever wanted in my body, because I believe that the body is regenerative and it does heal itself as long as you remain healthy and do good things for yourself. Like I said, I didn't change any of my eating habits or anything like that when I started running, and I dropped 50-60 pounds. The last pharmaceutical I've been on, here's another Roswell Park hospital loading area. The last pharmaceutical I've been on was probably 15 years ago now, when my son was an infant and I was having major bouts of anxiety at work because I was in such a high pressure type situation that one day at work, I lost my mind with an anxiety attack. I thought I was dying. I was racing so fast internally. And so I went to the emergency room, and my blood pressure was 180 over 120. And they said, man, you got to slow down. So they gave me some like anti-anxiety things or whatever, which I took for I guess a few weeks. And when I took them in the morning, I realized I needed them. I couldn't live without them. And I enjoyed them, and I looked forward to it more than anything else. So when I realized that, and that had happened, I kind of got off of those at that point. Just said, you know, I don't really need this in my life. And that was the last time, honestly, that was 15 years ago, that I've really had any type of pharmaceutical in my body. And at 45, I've never been healthier than I am right now. Never in my life. So I think sometimes, maybe all the time, people talk about cancer and cancer research and all the money that goes into cancer research. They were saying that this Roswell Park area has donated something like $454 million into cancer research since 1999 when it left the New York State Department of Health. And my question is always, where exactly does that $454 million go? And what is it accomplishing? Because, as I said, when you look around, the health of this world has been falling apart more and more, year by year, decade by decade. It's like the more money that goes into pharmaceuticals, pharmacia, in search for a cure, as they always tell us, the more unhealthy we get. So I'm not saying that you should drop all your prescriptions. I don't know. I'm just saying I've never needed them. My dad is 73. He's never needed them much either, and he couldn't be healthier. He bikes 10, 15 miles in the summer all the time, and he's in great shape. So today, I wanted to tell you, last night when I went into the Anchor Bar. So I went in Anchor Bar, and I sat down and ordered an IPA, ordered some wings. The wings were real good. But I was sitting next to a couple, and you'll see him on that shot I did just around the bar at the very end. It's a couple, a gray-haired man and a blonde woman. And I ended up talking to them for about an hour as we started off talking about the Yankees and and the Bills and stuff like that. Everybody around here wants to talk about the Buffalo Bills. Everyone's huge Bills fans. And so we talked about that for a while. Then eventually it always comes up, well, what do you do? What brought you here? And so I told them. And they were real interested. As it turns out, she has recently been in a big budget movie as an extra, where she made, I don't know, like $4,000, she said, for 3 or 4 days' work. I don't remember the name of the film. It's not released yet. She said their screening was coming up in a few days, and she was looking forward to seeing that. But she said, I don't know how you do what you do. I can't stand seeing myself on camera. And I said, I felt the same way when I first started doing my Beast System Revealed videos. I said, but what ended up happening is I learned so much about myself just watching how I am and how I come across to people. And you really learn to know who you are and be who you are when you are in front of the camera. And so she said, well, that might work for you, Travis, but that doesn't work for me very well. And I was like, no, it's cool. Like, it's not something that she wants. But they were real interested in what I'm doing and why. And so I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way. They were real interested in what I'm doing and why. And we didn't talk a lot about God. They understood my plan. I gave them a copy of my DVD. And they couldn't be more excited to see it. And I'm sure they don't have a clue about what I'm about to say and what I'm going to blindside them with in that movie and in those DVDs, in the video, the bonus DVD with the videos in there. They don't have a clue what's to come. But we got along really well. And I think it's people like that this message really can reach, because they're not coming from a religious background and have preconceived religious notions whatsoever. They're simply seeking truth, and they want to know what's going on in the world and why. And even the guy said, I I think the sports is rigged, he said. I said, well, of course it is. I said, Vegas has been in control of professional sports ever since there's been such a thing as professional sports. So we got into talking about that, a little conspiracy stuff, and he completely agreed with me. He said, yeah, it just doesn't seem right anymore. So anyway, I gave him that DVD, had a great conversation with them. People I never would have expected to, real kind of higher echelon people, high income type people. But we'll see what comes of that for them. I'm sure it's a type of message, I think, sometimes where you might get it and see it the first time and be like, what is this guy talking about? But then after the world starts to actually unfold the way that I say it's going to make more and more sense. A good idea might be to leave a couple of stacks of the movie with some of the vendors here. There's a caricature guy there, and I left a kind of a stack there. He wasn't around, so I just left it there. When I came back through, he was there, and I talked to him for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I'd be real unlikely to do that, but I'll take a copy. I don't have a DVD player, but I'll take a copy and see if I can find it. I'm going to see if I can give a copy to these guys here. Hey, guys. Don't mean to interrupt you, just real quick. I'm traveling the country promoting my movie. It's called The Sevens, and I'm giving it away. Do you have a DVD player?
Yes, I do.
Okay, check it out. I think you'll get something out of it.
Oh, you got contact information?
It's on there.
Oh,
yep, it sure is. It's the true story of a man desperately seeking to make sense out of love and the real meaning of life. So I think you'll get
We're just talking about a book I'm writing. Oh, Narrow Balance.
You know what? You get one then too. Do you have some place to put it?
Yeah, that's where I got my jacket.
Awesome. There you go.
Dude, wow.
Yeah, there's a bonus disc in there too.
Travis.
Yeah,
I'm Charles.
Charles, I had a
Summer Street Guest House if you need a place to hang out.
Oh no, I'm just here for a few days. I'm staying at the Wyndham.
Cool.
Watch the second DVD. There's a movie DVD, and then there's a bonus DVD that's got 5 videos. I had a very large YouTube channel that I retired from in March, so it's got the last 5 videos of that on there.
Oh, so you're not on YouTube anymore?
I quit. The censorship on it was getting so bad.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
I know.
Can't even talk about the COVID.
No,
right?
no.
And I know I'm an artist, and I'm telling people, when you do this and this and this and this and this,
Yep.
and they fucking kick me right off.
I lost 3 channels, actually. My channel was called Beast System Revealed, and I started it right when COVID started.
Oh, Jesus.
And I built it to like 60,000 subscribers.
Nice.
And they booted me. In one day, I lost my YouTube, I lost my Twitter, I lost my Facebook. All fell down. In fact, it was the first day they administered the vaccine in the UK, December 7th of 2020. And I put up one post on Twitter because the guy's name was William Shakespeare. Did you know that? The first guy to ever get the vaccine was named William Shakespeare in the UK.
Stop it.
And I'm like, that's messed up. And so I posted it on Twitter. I had 40,000 followers at the time. Within about 2 hours after that, my whole channel, they took down everything. How they all communicated, I have no idea. But my Facebook fell, my Twitter fell, my YouTube fell. I'm like, son of a bitch, what do I do now? So I restarted it under a different name, built that, canceled it, restarted Beast System Revealed in October of last year. And I did 160 videos. It led to those 5 that are on the the second disc, and you're going to see it. It's not going to be what you expect at all, but it's going to tell you a lot about what's actually going on in the world right now, why it's happening, and where things are really actually going. So,
Well, if you think about what's going on with the sun cycle, okay?
yeah. Oh, I've been watching the sun for years.
Okay, so check out Suspicious Observers.
I used to follow him.
Ben?
Yes.
Ben's
In
a
fact,
good friend. I met him in Philadelphia.
he might, if you mentioned Beast System Revealed to him, we followed each other on Twitter.
Yeah, they kicked him off Twitter.
Yeah. So I gave up on Twitter. And then the whole Elon Musk thing, I gave up on Twitter. I don't remember. But around March, I guess. And then the Elon Musk thing came in and they said, oh, he's going to stop the censorship. And I'm like, I'm not messing with it anymore. It's not worth it.
He's a different dude on the planet right now.
Yeah.
You know, and at first, and a few times, it was like, well, who the fuck is this guy, and why is he playing like this? And then to really hear who he is different.
If you follow him and you know it, you're going to really be open to what I take it to a new level, a next level. It's a message nobody out there is talking about at all. What's actually happening right now, and we are in God's judgment. We're in the second seal.
Dude,
the first
12,500 year cycle of the sun right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting zapped.
Did you notice? I've talked about this on my videos, and no one else ever noticed it. But the Big Dipper, you know how the constellations rotate in the sky throughout the seasons and whatnot? My mother died on April 26th of 2021, and I remember I was standing outside smoking a cigarette, and the Big Dipper was due north, right by the North Star. And the motherfucker did not move for over a year. I went outside every night at 8 o'clock and it was there in the same spot. I'm like, nope, that rotates with the seasons. I've watched it my whole life. And it was stuck, at least for a year. I don't know when it started, you know. And so I started paying attention to that. And then all of a sudden one day it started to go again. I'm like, well, now it's probably 6 months ago or so. I'm like, that ain't right.
Well, there's just another cycle. It's every 5 months, 6 months out of the year, that cycle changes. Yep. It's because of the Oort cloud that we're floating through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something weird. Well, there's stuff going on.
Once we fly out of that, the shit's gonna. The magnetic field of the planet is the biggest problem.
Right.
Because it's diminishing, and everything from space is hitting the planet. I mean, like I got a dome piece that's really sensitive, so when that thing farts, I don't even have to look at what's going on.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I get a headache. I get wobbly. When the sun's sparking, I get real anxious.
Have you noticed? And it's so much hotter. It's so much. I remember in the 80s and 90s, you look at the sun, it was just kind of a glowing orange ball. Now it's just like a halogen thing blasting you.
Definitely.
And it'll feel like it's 60 degrees when it says it's 80, when it's cloudy, and then the sun comes out and it feels like it's 100. And I didn't grow up that way.
No way.
I'm like, what is that thing up there? What exactly is going on? So I just think, and we're so distracted by the garbage, the news and all the ridiculousness, which I watch once a day just to see what garbage they're going to spew, what are they going to say about Putin today? That's a lie, because Putin's got a very different agenda than people think he does. But you'll learn about that in here too.
Well, him and what's his name?
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see. But anyway, it's been nice talking to you guys.
Dude, awesome.
Enjoy the movie. My contact information's down there. If you ever want to talk or text me or whatever.
Yeah, forever in Buffalo, really.
All right, cool. All right, see ya. Well, that was a good conversation. Didn't plan on recording that whole thing. Sorry for the swearing. That's just kind of me. It's just kind of how I talk sometimes. So they seemed real interested in what I gave them. Can't believe that he knew Suspicious Observers. Yeah, I've known Ben for quite some time now, and just online or whatever. But we did used to follow each other on Twitter. So if he's open to that and what Suspicious Observers talks about, he's definitely going to get a lot out of the sevens. This is the employee entrance of the Buffalo News, which is the biggest media outlet in Buffalo. I actually emailed them, I guess, early last week, letting them know I was going to be in town. I sent them I'm going to go this way. Sent them a press release letting them know I was going to be in downtown Buffalo handing out copies of my movie, and I don't know if they ever ran the press release. I doubt it, but I figured I'd try. So I left them a hard copy of my DVD at the employee entrance. I did the same thing in Toronto at their main news station. Not sure why. It's just something God's directing me to do. So hopefully that'll get in the right hands of somebody at the Buffalo News for their personal reasons, if nothing else. guess this is downtown Buffalo at exactly noon on a Saturday. There's nobody around, man. Just a handful of people. This is Main Street, just off the waterfront here, off the canal side area. And I've been handing out copies to a lot of people, but basically, there's nobody around, like I've been saying in so many of these cities I've been to. I can't believe this is the exact dead center of downtown. On Saturday at noon, I'm just looking for a place to eat, and I can't even seem to find any place that's open. So odd. Something going on in this world that we need to address. And I didn't realize the severity of it until really tonight. I've been talking about it on this documentary in the two places I visited, Toledo and now Buffalo, about how nobody's around. Tonight is Saturday night. Beginning of July, right after the 4th of July weekend. And there's a major festival going on in Buffalo tonight called Taste of Buffalo. It's one of their major summer events in a city of hundreds of thousands of people. And so I'm staying at a hotel that's about 2 miles or so from that downtown area. I'm downtown in this medical district, but it's all kind of connected, but that downtown is more the commercial by the waterfront. And so I head down that way at about 6:30 tonight, Saturday night, early July, middle of summer, when people want to do stuff in a town of hundreds of thousands of people. And I get downtown and I walk almost 2 miles to the first bar I went to, Acorns and something. And I walked in there and it was like way kind of trendy. When I walk into a bar, I like the country bar kind of atmosphere, much more relaxed. This was real trendy kind of place, and I just kind of sat there and had a beer, and they kind of looked at me weird, the servers, and then I tipped them real well, and I left. And then I went to a place, but there was nobody in there. There was nobody in there on a big festival night on a Saturday night during Taste of Buffalo, which Taste of Buffalo from there is only a few blocks. But there's nobody on the streets. There's nobody around anywhere. I have the streets of Buffalo to myself, just walking around, passing somebody every 2 or 3 city blocks, maybe. And a few cars going by to and fro here and there. I'm talking to God and I'm like, Lord, I am all alone in this city. I literally said to God on my walk down to those bars tonight at 6:30 or whatever it was, I said, I feel like I'm walking in the woods right now in central Wisconsin at my dad's place. I can talk to you freely. There's nobody around. And the skyscrapers are kind of like the trees, the man-made trees, you know? Nobody around. In the bars, nobody's around. I go to this Brothers bar. It's highly regarded in Buffalo. Minority owned, you know. Amazing food. So I walk in there though. It's like 7:15 by the time I get there. I walk in there, handful of people, like it's a small town, like it's Stevens Point, Wisconsin, 20,000 people, you know, that kind of downtown bar, 7 o'clock on a Saturday would have 4 tables filled, and that's exactly what it was. And I sat at the bar all by myself, and I had the most amazing curry chicken and collard greens, real collard greens, which I've never had. They were great. They were amazing. And mac and cheese. I had a plate of food 5 times bigger than what I normally eat. And I was just shoveling. It was amazing. And I left them hard copy of my DVD. But they said, I was saying to the manager there, I said, where is, I said, it's Saturday night, where is everybody? And she said, well, they're all down at the Taste of Buffalo. And then something called the White something. The White, I don't remember what she called it, but it's where, it's like everybody wears white. The White Day or something. I'm like, a white day? What are you talking about, a white day? She said, no, it's a white day. I looked it up, and sure enough, there's a white day. And there's like black people wearing white, and white, it's weird. It's weird. And then they have a black day. I don't know. But she said, so they're either at Taste of Buffalo, or there might be, some people might be at the White Day. I'm like, okay, so there is a big deal going on tonight. It's a Taste of Buffalo. That's where all the city is. All downtown in this big party with huge bands and stuff going on. Nope. So I finish my amazing meal, and I walk down there, Brothers Bar, seriously, Brothers Bar in Buffalo, and get the curry chicken, the collard greens, and the mac and cheese. They give you a plate. Oh, it was, and a little thing of cornbread, which I didn't eat. I was too full. It was great. But so I walked down about a half a mile, a few city blocks, to the Taste of Buffalo, and sure enough, it's a big thing. And they've got vendors, and then you have to buy tickets, get tickets with cash to go buy anything, and it's a whole thing, and there's a police presence like you can't imagine. Tanks. I wish I had my GoPro with. I didn't bring, my GoPro was down to 11%. I left it here to go have dinner. I didn't know what I was getting into, and God told me while I was doing the Taste of Buffalo thing tonight, he said, that's because you were doing this without the camera tonight, Travis. And it really turned out. And so I get down there though, and I'm like, well, this is cool and stuff, but this is like a small town festival in central Wisconsin, in Amherst, Wisconsin. There's several thousand people milling around, and that's it. But nobody else in the city anywhere, and cars are sparse, and there's no traffic. And I'm like, this is a major city. And God said to me, Travis, you need to start understanding this. There are less people in this world than the rulers of the world want you to believe. There are less people in this world, far, 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 far less than the rulers of the world want you to believe. And that's why all of the cities are empty like they are. And all of the buildings are empty. Out my window right here, I'm overlooking Lake Erie from the distance. And all these buildings, hundreds of them I can see in the skyline. It's nighttime now, I'll show you. Nothing's going on in any of them. They're all empty. Buildings everywhere are empty. Everything is empty. This is a small town. This has the population center from the people driving around, even on the highways. On the highways in the downtown area, it's like 20,000 or 26,000 person Stevens Point, Wisconsin, where I lived with my now ex-girlfriend for several years. Or even like 6,000 person Wapaka, Wisconsin, where I live outside of now with my father, my dad. The downtown activity is the same, identical, not on a scale level, identical on a people numbers level, but the downtowns here are so much bigger, so they're all empty. I own the streets. I walk around downtown Buffalo, I'm like, I own these streets. These are all mine. There's nobody here. People milling around there and here, coming to and fro. And so, yeah, I leave my DVDs laying here and laying there because someone's going to pick them up. And then I run into this guy. I run on them. I walk back from Taste of Buffalo. When I got to Taste of Buffalo, I had about 50 copies of my DVD. And I left them all over Taste of Buffalo, everywhere. And I talked to a few people, handed them in person to a few people, but mostly I left them on tables in strategic areas. I'm like, people are going to grab those. The right people. I leave that to the Father. But on my walk back, I was leaving a few more here and there. Once in a while, I'll leave one on a car window and things like that. And then I walk up to this African-American couple who was walking real slow. And God wanted me to talk with him, and I did. And I talked with him, and I gave him a hard copy of my DVD. His girlfriend or wife or whoever she was there too. I could tell there was a lot of pain in their lives. And he asked me to pray for them, and I did. And I prayed to the Father that the Spirit fall on their lives in a real and tangible way, so that their lives could be transformed into service of Him and to understand the message that I gave them in giving them my movie of Sevens. And it was a real powerful moment for all three of us. But I think the direction of this documentary is quickly going into trying to discover the truth of how many people are really here. I can't fathom everybody is hiding in their houses all the time doing nothing. And this tiny percent of the population is the only tiny percent coming out into public. I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. I don't think people are scared. I think there's far fewer people and something has happened, potentially. But I'm going to seek the Father on that. And we'll seek it throughout the rest of this documentary, Who is God? My plan today was to go to Niagara Falls and hand out copies of my movie at Niagara Falls. I've never been to Niagara Falls, so I figure I'm in Buffalo. Obviously, it's a place I should go. It's only about 20-25 miles from here. So to get there, I was gonna take the Metro transit bus. They have a route that goes at the 40th of the hour every hour that leaves the bus station here, which is about 1.5 miles from my hotel. And I was gonna take that. It's about an hour trip there, hang around there for a while, give away movies, talk to some people. And it was my plan, but I didn't feel right about it this entire day. I got up this morning, I went and ran 3.3 miles, and I knew my plan then today was to go and do that in Niagara Falls. However, just at a busy intersection right here. However, I get there, well, I should say, when I'm still in the hotel, I knew there was something that didn't seem right about me going there. It just wasn't sitting right with me for some reason. But I thought, well, maybe that's just me. But it didn't feel like I was following God with this one. Well, I get to the bus station, so I take the shuttle from the hotel, and I get to the bus station, and I wait about a half an hour till 1:40. Never once crosses my mind that I would need a mask to still travel. Like Amtrak hasn't required masks now since I think January, and it just there's a lot of people in Buffalo still wearing them. But so I get there, I wait for the bus, I'm about to board the bus, and the driver's all masked up, and he's like, you can't get on here without a mask. I'm like, you're kidding me. He said, nope. I said, do you have any? He said, nope, you need one or you got to get off. And I'm like, well, then I guess I'm getting off. And so I'm walking now 1.5 miles back to my hotel to regroup and figure out what lesson I was supposed to learn in that. Other than I knew I wasn't being obedient with this plan for Niagara Falls today. It just seems to make sense because tomorrow I leave just after midnight. So early Tuesday morning at about 12:30, I leave. So all I have left is the rest of the day today, and then during the day on Monday. And it's just, it boggles my mind how people still are married to these masks. And way back when I had avoidthemark.com, one of the first articles that I published was talking about what the masks actually were. This was back in early April of 2020, saying that masking people, masking them is a form, is showing subservience. It's what they used to do to slaves of all races. Slaves of all races throughout the world. Whenever you buy a slave, own a slave, you mask them to show that their voice doesn't matter. That's what we've all agreed to in the last 2 years. And then you wonder why society has gotten so weird. It's just disappointing, but I'm not really disappointed. Like I said, I didn't really have a good feeling about going there today. It's just that I can't believe there's still people in this world so married to masks that want to be slaves to their government still. They don't understand that true freedom only comes in Christ to the Father when we begin to serve Him in a real way. And that anything the world gives you is not freedom at all, but is designed to steal it completely from you and ultimately to steal your soul. Today's my last full day here in Buffalo. I head out at just after midnight tonight. So I'm going to take some time. It's about noon, and I'm going to head down Main Street over here. It's about an hour and a half, or a mile and a half stretch all the way to the waterfront. And I'm just going to hand out copies of my DVD as I go. It's interesting, this morning I took a little 5K run around the downtown area, and I noticed on my Strava, we were talking about Roswell Park up there, the medical area. I noticed on my Strava the elevation of Roswell Park is exactly 666 feet above sea level. And I'm like, well, I wonder if that's a coincidence, because I don't believe there's many coincidences in this life. So I'm going to hand out a bunch of copies. I'm going to try to hand out at least 40 or 50 as we go along Main Street here. That's that. I just walked about 2.5 miles all the way down past the theater district and close to Canal Side, which is along the waterfront. And I walked along one side of Main Street on the way down, handed out a bunch, about a total of 50. I handed out the rest on the way back up, including at some Catholic churches. At the Salvation Army, I handed a few out. And at the Scientology place, I left one there as well, so that they can get their hands on that. You know what it is, really? It's a warning. It's a warning. It is God's judgment is here, and I'm delivering the message, so they can do with it whatever they choose. God had told me before this trip started a week ago that for me it was going to be more about boldness in Him and really laying down my fears of what other people think about me, or judgment, or people thinking I'm weird or goofy or whatever for doing what I do. And what I found out, who God is He is someone that when we truly set our minds and our hearts on serving Him, and serving the kingdom and truly trying to build the kingdom in this end age. Who God is He is someone who puts us in position repeatedly over and over when we're in that mode of serving Him, of service to our Father, of witnessing of Him and to Him in scenarios that you can never imagine. And I had so many conversations on this trip to Buffalo that I can't even, I need days and days to kind of decompress and review in my mind all the conversations that I had with the different types of people that I had them with. I even today at Union Station in Chicago outside had an amazing half-hour long conversation with a younger black woman who was a Jehovah's Witness. And neither one of us approached the other trying to witness to one another. But I had an amazing conversation with her about the truth of this age, and she was getting it. She was getting it until her programming kicked in. When I wanted to give her my DVD, when I wanted to give her the sevens and my bonus disc, so she could really understand the end of the age, because I knew that she was understanding everything I was telling her about who God really is. And when I tried to give her the DVD, she backed off. She said, "Nope, I can't. I only listen to scripture," she said. And I knew that was just her way of telling me I'm not ready to take that leap yet. And I said, everything I speak of is 100% scripture, straight scripture, and I only learned through the power of the Holy Spirit and the understanding that Jesus has decided that I need to share right now, you know. And she got what I was saying. She just wasn't ready to take the leap because she knew some of the things I was saying about the revelation of Jesus Christ and what it really means and where this age is really going into the millennial reign and what we need to do to witness to Christ in this end age, according to Revelation 20, verses 4, 5, and 6, to earn our reward, that 1,000-year millennial reign with Christ here on earth, this generation only. And she knew what I was saying, but she couldn't accept that. Not yet. But I've had conversations with people, and it happens every time. And for me to not be bold would be silly at this point, because God puts me in a situation time after time after time after time. Everybody I talk to wants to know, who are you? What are you doing? And I can't lie. I can't be like, well, what, you know, why were you in Buffalo for a week? Oh, I was visiting family. Just because I don't feel like talking, just because I don't feel in that moment, because I'm tired after traveling for a week, that I don't necessarily feel like bearing a full witness to Christ in the moment. But every time somebody says to me that, I know exactly where the conversation is going. And it happened up to and including right when the train left me off here in Portage, and my dad picked me up. I was sitting next to a woman that got on in Milwaukee, and we got to talk for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Not a believer, not a nothing, not an atheist, doesn't even care. And we just were talking about what's actually going on in the world. And she's like, yeah. And I said, yeah, this is all scriptural, and here's how. And I'm saying, I said to her, either the rulers of the world are just copying scripture verbatim, which they are, or it's true at the same time, and it really is the inspired word of God. And she's like, it's both. She's like, it's life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art. I said, exactly. That is what the end of the age is going to look like. That is what the judgment of God, how it's going to play out. And she got it. And then the train got delayed. I'm 3 minutes from getting dropped off. I've been on this train since midnight last night. And it's 3 minutes from getting, and then it got delayed for a half an hour, 3 minutes from the tiny little train station I was getting dropped off at. Because a freight train was coming through, you know, a cargo train or whatever, and it was delayed. And so I got another half hour to talk to her. and gave her my movie. And at the very end, when I was walking out with my bags and I was about to check out and head back home, and she said, you know what, Travis, I'm kind of nervous to watch this now. This might question my entire reality. And I said, it will. Watch it. But the boldness that God allowed me to have on this particular trip versus Toledo was really just to approach people and not be afraid of what they think. Because the message that he has given me is so important that for me to keep it to myself and not share it, when he says share it with that person right now, go give him a DVD, go give him the 7 so he can learn. If I say no to that, or if I don't do it the right way, or I just hope, no, and I walk up and I say, I want you to have this, please watch this. And nobody ever says no, except for the Jehovah Witness lady at the very end of the trip, today. I even got stuck at one point on the trip. I got stuck next to the biggest left-wing younger woman you could ever imagine, who was double masked, and wanted to, it was very pro-abortion and wanted to talk about abortion and all that. And our conversation turned into something else. And we found out that politically speaking, we have way more in common, and we believe most of the same things. She believes big government is out of control, has taken control of the world. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what God's judgment says, according to the 7 seals of Revelation. And I started to talk to her about all this. Someone who's never thought about God necessarily. A polyamorous woman who is a woman who identifies as non-binary, who's in a relationship with a man who's gay. The man is gay. But we had a great 2-hour conversation, almost 3. And the entire train was listening to us as we discuss. And I said, this is what boldness in Christ is. It's just being who I am in him and telling people what I know and not preaching. I don't preach. I share my experience. I share my life. I share what I've learned as I've learned it, and people relate to it. And I'm telling you, it's the same for you. When you truly put yourself in a situation where you actually are serving him, and God knows your heart is to serve him in this end age, because you want that millennial reign with Christ here on earth for 1,000 years. You want to earn that. He's going to rain down the right people and rain out the right words and the Holy Spirit out of your mouth to those people in however they need it. And when she started talking about abortion and all those other things, the conversation got redirected perfectly, and we got back to talking about what really needs to be talked about now. So this trip was, I need a few days, like I said, to decompress and take in all of what happened, but I'm excited about the next leg of this journey. This is a normal day in my life. And I spend so much time in nature here and around the property, talking to God, reflecting on life, the things I've lived through, the things I've been through. And I tell you, there's barely ever a time when I spend time alone and quiet in nature that God doesn't have something profound to teach me if I listen. I always used to say on my old YouTube channel, it's not about asking, it's about listening to our Father. And it really is. It was about this time last year, mid to late July of 2021, that really for the first time in my life, I understood and heard that still small voice, truly, of the Holy Spirit, speaking to me in such vivid, real ways that I couldn't believe it. Detailed ways. Directing me on simple paths within my life at that time that I desperately needed to correct in order to survive. And in order to ultimately begin serving my Creator as I now am. And I was thinking last night when I was sitting down here, how I can't imagine 1 year ago today, in the place that my life was at, filled with anxiety, in the middle of towards the end, I didn't know it at the time, but I was towards the end of a 7, almost 8-year relationship that was about to crash and burn, that I was fighting for desperately with everything I had in me. But God intervened because I didn't know it, but I needed Him to, because of what I was about to start going through. And I said to God last night, I said, Lord, if you would have told me 1 year ago today where I'd be in you, what I would be doing right now, what I have done or would be doing over the course of the next year, starting last year at this time, I said I would have never believed it. It was a impossibility. Or would have been, in my mind, a year ago today, or a year ago yesterday, as I talked to him about this. But he had a plan. He's had a plan for me since I was born, for my entire life, and he does for you too. He does for all of us who hear his voice. And the fact that you're watching this tells me that you hear his voice, or he would not have directed you to this. And I broke down weeping last night, genuinely, to the Father, when I really thought through the path He's taken me on in the last year to get where I'm at now. And then I started thinking, or even in the last 6 months, since He first told me that I would be embarking on this midnight ride. I had no idea what that meant at the time, and it was an impossibility 6-7 months ago when He told me. It was an impossibility in reality. But the miracles that He's performed in order to make this happen are absolutely undeniable. And I broke down to Him last night. And I said, Father, what of a year from now? If I keep listening to You and keep serving You in ways that please You, and seek you every day and seek your will every day, and you continue to bring me on new levels of understanding in you and who I am in you, what of a year from now? What will I be doing? He said, Travis, you can't comprehend it. Just as you could not have comprehended what you'd be doing today 1 year ago. And I agree. He's an unbelievable God to serve when we actually submit. His voice is real. And it's becoming more and more vivid because we need it to be in the age that we're in. The understanding that we need to have of what's actually happening in the world and why, in order to adjust to it when we need to, and in order to build the kingdom within it as we're charged to do. There's nothing on this earth or anywhere else that will stop me from serving Jesus. Nothing. And as this path continues to progress, I only ask Him to further perfect my faith, so that I can carry out His mission that I've known I was charged to do since I was 17. About this time last night, I was sitting here watching the most beautiful sunset right about here. And the sun was kind of peeking through a cloud a little bit, and was forming this perfect beam of light straight down to the earth in such a gorgeous way. Birds were flying by. The wind was hitting my face, and I thought, this is the most beautiful thing. This is a painting. This is the most beautiful painting I have ever seen. And no one's ever seen it before except for me at this exact moment. And I thought, how cool is that? No one has ever seen what I see right here. And right then, God spoke to me. And He said, Travis, do you understand? The entire earth that I built is art. It's all art. It's beauty and it's art. And He said, one of the reasons that I created man was to be able to see through his eyes, through man's eyes, what I had created. And not only see it through his eyes, but appreciate it through his eyes. And I said, Father, that makes so much sense, because me as an artist, me as someone who creates things, whether it's writing or painting or music or videos or movies or documentary, I have a hard time seeing for myself what I've actually created until I can see it through somebody else's eyes. Watch it with them, listen to it with them, look at it with them, see what they see in a way. Obviously, I can't see through their eyes, but I can perceive it through their perception. If it's somebody I know. And God said to me, Travis, that is one of the reasons I created man, so that I could see and appreciate through man's eyes what I had created. And he said, you don't understand fully that what you're seeing right now, no one else is seeing, but I'm seeing through you. And I'm appreciating it through you because of the way you're currently appreciating it. He said, I'm appreciating my own art on a deeper level. And that's why, one of the many reasons you're here. Man is here. Humans. And I thought, that's beautiful. I totally understand that. Because he can see it and appreciate it and feel what I feel when I see it. His art, his painting, that beautiful. And tonight it's a different picture. Tonight it's a very different picture. But it's still one that he has painted. And I want you to think about that as you take in the world through your eyes. That God, your creator, is also seeing it through your eyes and perceiving it through your eyes. And so when you're in nature, enjoying nature for what it is, what he created, not the buildings and the metal, wood, but what he created. It blesses him on a very deep level, and it helps God, our creator, grow. It helps him grow. He is always expanding. I've always said that in every video I've ever made. God is always expanding. He's always growing. That's why he's the Alpha and the Omega, and he needed us to see his creation through our eyes, to help him grow further into the new age. It's August 12th, and I've made it to Fargo. Man, yesterday was a tiring day. It was probably the most tiring day I've had traveling so far. I left Wisconsin at around 6:30 in the afternoon, and I don't know what it was yesterday, but I was just dragging. I ran in the morning and pushed a little too hard, I think. Shouldn't have gone as far as I did in the morning, and I was just exhausted all day. And then I had to sit on a train overnight for 10 hours to get here to Fargo, but I'm here. And so I arrived this morning, about 5 or 6 hours ago. I arrived about 4:30 a.m. So I got a couple hours sleep. I didn't really sleep on the train, but I got a couple hours sleep in the hotel when I got here. Man, is everything. That hotel is dead. I think I've got the place completely to myself right now. And it seems to be that way in a lot of places I go. I don't know what people really do anymore. But, so tomorrow is going to be a big day here for me. There's a LGBTQ Pride event going on that I'm going to go to tomorrow and hand out movies and talk to people. I show them who God is in a real way, not in a judgmental way, but I guess it's a real big event, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Today I'm mostly just going to rest, get my strength back for the next 3 days that I'm going to be here, and spend some time with God to make sure that I'm in line with His direction for this trip. This is the 2022 Fargo Pride Fest, and I got here about a half an hour ago. Did a full walkthrough of all the booths and stuff. There's hundreds of them, hundreds of booths and vendors and some music. It's touted as a very family-oriented, family-friendly event, and well, I did a full walkthrough, and I'll tell you, the very first thing, there's a lot of children here, hundreds of children. The very first thing I saw when I walked into the area with all of the booths was dildos. and from there it progressed. The things I see in these booths. I'm going to get some shots of it as I walk through it again. And I'm going to try to talk to a few people. There are a few churches with booths here even. I think I saw a Methodist church and another one as well. But I'm going to try to talk to a few people about who God is to them in 2022. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that exactly. A very challenging environment to do that in, as I'm seeing. It's definitely not the kind of place I normally go. But I want to see this part of society and the people that really push it forward and drive it. The sexualization of it, though, is what I struggle with big time. Like, if you want to tout this as a family-friendly event, that's one thing, but don't be selling dildos and asking how many balls will fit into a condom and having children guess how many balls fit into a condom, you know? So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to hand out some of my DVDs of the sevens here. Absolutely bombarded that place with copies of my movie and my bonus disc, including The Beast Revealed. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to anyone on camera, and that was my goal. That was my hope of what I'd be able to do today. And to be honest, it just didn't seem right. I was listening to God the entire time I was there, asking him, is it this person? Is it this person? You know? And it just didn't seem like it would be fruitful, I think, in that environment. I think. And so that begs the question then, why share the message of the sevens in that environment? And God's answer to that, to me, is that it's not my job to figure out necessarily who he's building his kingdom with in these end times. It's my job to do exactly what he tells me to do and share the message that he told me to share, that he's given me to share. And from there, it's up to him as to how he works in a person's heart. And that's how he always works. It's never, there's no one person I'm gonna walk up to and say the right things in the right order perfectly and they're gonna serve God then going forward. It's gotta be the Holy Spirit of God truly touching their heart exactly where they're at in their life. And when that happens, it's automatic. It doesn't matter the lifestyle that you've been leading up until that point. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are up until that point. I've talked to so many people so far in this documentary that I haven't got on film because it's more powerful, I think, sometimes not to. Almost all the time, not to. Because people really let down their guards. When the camera's up, people's guards are up more. But I've talked to enough people to know in every walk of life, dozens and dozens and dozens. I don't even remember them all anymore, but they all have my movie, so hopefully they remember my message of Christ and the end times and what's really happening in this world and why. But not one of them was ever offended necessarily. And they all, I've said this before, but they all believed in some sort of a God, or hoped at least that there was somebody that's going to save us from this all. Because people know the world is a mess. And so all I do is what God has chosen, every person he's ever called has chosen to do, is just share the message. Like I've said, Ezekiel had to share a message with an entire city, and God also told him, Ezekiel, no one's going to hear the message, but you got to do it anyway. Otherwise, their blood is on your hands, because you know Ezekiel and you didn't share. So that's what I'm doing. And the times where I start to overthink it and think, what am I really doing here at a gay pride or LGBTQ pride event, handing out copies of the Sevens? I didn't think that would be something I would do. But today I did. And God is really telling me, you listened perfectly, you did what I wanted you to do. Not necessarily, again, like I always say, what I wanted you to do. It always changes. It always changes every time. So as I've been walking back, it's about a 2-mile walk back to the hotel. And I'm going to get a little bit of rest. But I also handed out some copies around the Hawthorne neighborhood there. And even the TV station, KDAY. I don't know, every time I'm in these cities, I end up by the main TV station or media hub by accident, and I just leave a nice copy of it there for no reason in my mind other than that's what God is telling me to do. It's interesting that God called me to Fargo. And the reason I say that is because, like I've said, I don't know where I'm going on this journey until God tells me. And I think it, and I think it, and I think it, and I overthink it all the time as to where I'm going next. And I thought this month was going to be Omaha. I'm sitting outside my hotel room right now. I thought this month was going to be Omaha, and I believe Omaha is still on the radar. as I believe Cincinnati is, as I believe Washington, D.C. is, to finish this midnight ride. But Fargo kind of came out of nowhere to me. And it was interesting because when God struck my heart a few weeks ago and said, Travis, you're going to Fargo. Actually, it wasn't even a few weeks ago. It was maybe a week and a half ago. I'm like, Fargo? Okay, the only thing I know about Fargo, obviously, is the movie Fargo. It's one of my favorite movies ever, actually. If you've watched it, you might think that's weird. But it is. And if you haven't watched it, you should. It's quite the interesting movie. As a matter of fact, they have a museum here that I'm going to try to get to, that they have the original wood chipper, the wood chipper that ended the movie Fargo. And if you've seen it, you know what that means. So I'm going to try to get that on video if I can get to this museum. I got to look again and see where that is. But I'm like, I don't know anything about Fargo or why I would go there. And it was interesting because on the way here, the train station is, like I said, in like an hour and 20 minutes or so from where I live, and my dad drives me. And on the way to the train station, the hour plus drive, a couple of days ago, he tells me, you know, Travis, my dad was adopted. And so he was telling me a story about his dad, my grandfather. My grandfather adopted my dad when my grandfather was 44, and my dad was like 2.5. And my dad's never known his birth family, so all he's ever known is his adopted family. Of course, my grandfather died years and years ago, 1993. He was a 33-degree Freemason. Actually, he was a Grand Master in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And he kind of ran the whole show there in Milwaukee in his younger years. And I'm not sure what happened with that necessarily. Nobody really knows. But he left it, and it was around that time that he met my grandmother, who was about 10 years younger, and they moved. They left Milwaukee. And I don't really know why, you know. What my dad told me, he said, on the drive to the Portage, Wisconsin train station, my dad told me, you know, Travis, it's interesting. He said, I remember Grandpa telling me that before he moved to central Wisconsin, where he ended up moving from Milwaukee and building a new life there, he said he had another option, and that other option he was strongly considering was Fargo. I'm like, really? Well, that's random. That's odd. But I was just seeking kind of confirmation from God that Fargo was really where He wanted me to go, and that kind of was like one of the pieces that He gives me pieces all the time, leading up to these trips to confirm things to me. But that was one piece at the very end where I was about to leave. And I think today, when I got here and I started to look online to see what's going on in Fargo this weekend, why am I here this weekend? I didn't know. And I see all this LGBTQ stuff going on. The Pride Day today. Tomorrow is a big parade, a Pride, LGBTQ Pride parade. I'm going to go to that because today went so well. I'm going to go to that as well. And because that's what's going on in the community. It's not like some side event. This is where our society has gone. This is how it's changed. That these types of events are the summer events in these larger towns, smaller cities, and bigger ones as well. So I'm going to go to that. And it seems obvious to me why I'm here now. And why God called me here. I still never know until the day comes and I start to operate in the Spirit. I never know how things are going to go. I was worried about today. But it turned out amazing. So I'm back at the hotel and relaxing for a little bit. I might sing some karaoke tonight. I haven't done that for about 12 years, and I used to be kind of good. So the hotel bar has karaoke tonight. I might do that. We'll see. But tomorrow is going to be that parade. traveled throughout the country in the last 3 to 4 months, I'm stuck with one question, one major question with the people that I talk to, the conversations that I have throughout my travels that's consistent to everywhere that I've been so far, is that I don't know where people are getting their hope from anymore. Hope. Certainly no hope in this world. Really, since the beginning of the COVID agenda, March 13th of 2020, the agenda of the leaders of the world has been to systematically destroy our systems as we've always known them. Systems that have somehow given us hope or given us a feeling or reason to live. Hope is what excites you. Hope is what gives you purpose for the future. Hope is what allows you to plan, what drives you on a day-to-day basis. And you take hope out of the human heart, and you end up with a population of people who give up. And I see that happening in all of my travels, in the places that I stay, in the hotels that I go to, which are not bad hotels, but have become very, very poor. For one example, everyone's given up on doing all the old things that we used to do, that used to drive us. The hotels are filthy. It's impossible to even get, someone to service your room anymore, let alone find a place for garbage. It's just that everything has really been destroyed. Our systems have been destroyed. And I think people are starting to realize more and more, after the 2.5 years now it's been since COVID started and shut down our world completely. In those 2.5 years until now, people are starting to realize what they said in the beginning of this is that there was no going back to normal. And there really isn't. This is the new normal, and it was created systematically to take away people's hope. And it's worked. For the most part, it's worked. So people try to find hope in small things, which I do as well. Try to ignore the reality of the world, which I try to do as well at times. To try to find hope in I don't know what. I'm telling you that without the Creator, without seeking the heart of the Creator, your Creator, the one who made you in His exact image, there is no hope. And the fact of the matter is, His voice right now is stronger than it's ever been my entire life by far. And I think the reason it has to be His voice in our spirits that spark hope in us. And I think the reason is that it has to be because we're living in the most difficult time, the most difficult age in human history, and we're living at the very end of it. And we only have, biblically speaking, according to Revelation chapter 13, now in August of 2022, we only have about 3 years till the end of this age. Until those who hope in the Father are resurrected. There's a lot we have to go through in the next three years. And if you know my message, you know that what we have to go through was told to us by Christ in Revelation 20, verses 4, 5, and 6. Throughout these next 3 years, those who are truly seeking the heart of the Father and building His kingdom will have to be beheaded for our witness to Christ. And it is us in this generation only, according to Revelation 20, verses 4, 5, and 6, that are in the first resurrection to Jesus, to begin to learn from Him what we do on this earth when we come back 3.5 years after that, to take it back and have an earth rebuilt. And that is our hope. Our hope is the 1,000-year millennial reign that we get for suffering what we have to suffer through in this time. what I'd like you to do, and when you understand the hope that that brings in your spirit, and you understand that when you start seeking the heart of the Father is always to build his kingdom. In these last 3 years especially, to find the last few people in this generation that are willing to seek his heart, and seeking his heart means serving him and building his kingdom and getting out there and doing it. And once you start doing that and you start hearing his voice and following his direction that he has for you to build his kingdom, he's going to transform you. He transforms your entire life. Not only your life, the way you think, he transforms your body. It happens automatically when you start listening to his voice, which is so strong. It's never about asking God for anything. He's not Santa Claus. God is your creator. God is your father. But God is also the one who demands that we be doers in building his kingdom. And that's why we'll ultimately be executed for our witness of Jesus Christ in his coming soon. After these times of tribulation that we must suffer, there will be no rapture of the saints. There will not be a rapture of this generation. When we go to Christ, it is the first resurrection according to Revelation 24:5-6. Please read it for yourself. And then the second resurrection is when all of the rest of the dead are resurrected and judged by Jesus. We skip that judgment because we face the end of this age, and we need to hear his voice to build what he needs to build to get us there. We have no other choice. That's what's going to spark your hope, I promise you. And that is the message. That is the message to share it with everybody. It doesn't matter what walk of life they are in. People in every walk of life have lost hope, and they're seeking hope in weird ways. Like I've seen the last 2 days with all the pride stuff down here. And yesterday I saw someone else was down there giving away something for God. And it was these little leaflets. And then on the front it said, "Don't be so afraid to die," or something like that. And the whole message was like trying to the fear of death, and trying to witness to Christ through the fear of death or something. And I literally replaced those. I took those up and I put my DVDs there of the sevens, because that's the real message of hope. That's the message that can cut through into the LGBTQ community, because it doesn't matter what type of individual you share the message with. When the Holy Spirit speaks to their heart, it will transform them completely. If you saw me 1 year ago today, I would never have been doing such a thing as this. There is no way. I was 50 pounds heavier on top of that. And when I just started listening to his voice, that spark of hope sprung up in me, and I started to do and listen. And he used the skills and abilities and has taught me so much throughout the last year. And every time it brings me into a closer relationship with him, and it's really about that relationship. As much as I love serving God on the road, I equally love coming home. I really do. Serving God on the road is hard. It's hard. Traveling in general these days is hard. Decent accommodations are hard. Anyone who claims to love traveling right now, I'm not sure what traveling exactly they're doing, that they're genuinely enjoying the process of traveling. But I love serving God on the road because I love being able to take His word to a foreign environment that isn't familiar to me, get familiar with that environment, and then share His word with people in a way that they can keep and have and share with other people. And I know it makes an impact, or God wouldn't be having me do this. You know, I was thinking on the way home, because I do this all alone, as you can see, all alone. I hope you understand. That's what I do. No production help, no nothing. It's just me listening to God and doing what He tells me to do. And I often think, man, this would probably be more enjoyable, I think sometimes, if I could do it with someone else. And if you've watched The Sevens, you know that someone else would probably be a woman, you know, a beautiful woman that I was in love with. But I was thinking a lot about this on the way home, and I realized more and more, I couldn't do what God is having me do right now with anyone else. It wouldn't work, because the process He needs me to go through each and every time I do anything for Him can't be interrupted with an explanation to someone else necessarily. And there's only been 2 times in 160 videos that I made on YouTube, twice I had another person with or another person in the video, one each time. And each time the process of making the video, short form video, was a nightmare. The work for God turned out amazing, but the process was a nightmare because the person with me, and there was 2 different people on each occasion, was a different person. The people with me were like, this makes no sense. This isn't gonna work out. What are you doing? Are you crazy? You have no organization to this at all. I'm like, I'm listening to God in the moment, and that's what I do. And that's what serving Him always is. I'm learning that more and more. The harder I chase Him, and the more I desire to serve Him, the more I learn I'll never know exactly what I'm doing for Him until the moment is there, right at that moment. Not exactly what I'm doing. I'll have an idea, maybe, but He strikes me with ideas that I don't even expect, when I don't expect it. And they're not my ideas. The voice of the Spirit is unbelievable. How it happens in the time exactly that you need it. And it's not just the case when you're serving Him, when you're sharing His word. It's the case all the time. It's the case on a day-to-day, every moment of every single day, that He tells us exactly what we need to hear, when we need to hear it, not before. Never before. We pray all day, Lord, I want to know what's happening tomorrow. I want to know exactly what's happening tomorrow so I can prepare. And you will not get an answer from Him on that. You won't. You'll get maybe an outline, maybe a sketch. And then He'll give you the plan right when you need it. If it's not working that way, it's not of God. And the times I've tried to work outside of His will, and I knew they were my ideas, they were train wrecks. I'm not that talented. I know I'm not. It's the Holy Spirit that directs me. Only. God is a God of now. God is a God of this moment at all times. This moment at all times. He never wants us dwelling and focusing on the past, other than to deal with it and move on to now. Move on to now. Not move on to our future. Our future plays itself out in and of itself as we listen to Him in the now. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 3 months especially, with going on these trips now from Toledo to Buffalo to Fargo. He's not going to give me a heads up until I'm there, man. He just tells me, go there. I'll tell you then. I didn't know any of that LGBTQ stuff was going on in Buffalo, in Fargo at all this last weekend. I had no idea. I was actually upset because my plan was to go on the 7th of each month. The 7th of June, 7th of July, 7th of August. Well, guess what? I didn't go until the 11th of August because it's how the month dictated it financially for me. I couldn't afford it. Well, guess what? I show up and boom, there's the LGBTQ stuff, and it was amazing that I got to share the sevens and the beast reveal in that environment. 120 copies I got out in Fargo, all over the place. I even went door to door on 7th Street. 7th Street in Fargo that leads right to the main downtown. I left hard copies of people's doors. I knocked on doors, even. And I didn't know I was going to be doing that day. That's not me. That's not something I would ever do. I'm too timid with stuff like that. But in the moment, right then and there, after I recorded the message in front of the train that says Fargo, God said, here's what you're doing now on your walk back. And you're going to, I'm like, really? Okay. Let's go. Let's go, I said. And he said, I'll tell you which houses. And he did. And he did. Listen to him in the now. The less we think and worry about the future, the more peaceful we are. God is the God of now.
Human identity is no longer defined by what one does, but by what one owns.
Stand there on my feet till I landed on my knees. Abandon all the things that let me fall from thee. I look abroad, I see the lawlessness increase. I know that God be looking on us, but we heartless in our deeds. Y'all sit in our mind, wage a war against the lies. They've been perpetrated on us since we was 5. This American dream, it blinded us all with greed. If you got ears to hear, then you got eyes to see. Come take a ride with me, with faith collide with reason. We will fight for freedom, gave my life to Jesus. Hung him high, draped in the sky. They mocked and beat him. Soon he gon' crack the sky and every eye gon' see him. Yeah.
And this is a war, yeah, a war for me. And I've been fighting this war, and it's American dream. When I fell asleep, and it's American dream. I fell asleep, in the American dream. Nah, 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 nah.
Hey, I came a long way from a scheming to be gleaming. Was a drug fiending with a legion of demon. Living what I thought was is free, deceived by the American dream, cause it's more like a matrix, a deception of perfection. Your mind played tricks, does away with the basics, excuse your perception. Land of the free in a home with a brave, not face it, a land of the damned at a home with a slave. Caged and mazed with a maze in a rat race, highway to hell and the gold is paved. But we swear we safe, only time will tell when you hit that grave. Will your soul be raised or tossed in the blaze? Father help us, cause we lost in the cost, and only you deserve praise, yeah.
And this is a war, yeah, a war for me. And I've been fighting this war, and this American dream. And I fell asleep in this American dream. I fell asleep in the American dream. Nah, nah. No, 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 no.
Too many of us now tend to worship self-indulgence and consumption. But we've discovered that owning things and consuming things does not satisfy our longing for meaning.